50 miles per hour. This particular storm is, and that's nothing to joke around with. And folks, if you're on the road, the areas you need to be careful of, if you're on I-24, this will be between mile markers 81 and 93. You need to be finding some cover right now.
I've got a couple of folks texting in on the Super Text line. That's up and available to you. If you are able, if you're in a safe place and you have any reports that might be of interest or of note or importance to the massive listening audience of Supertalk 99.7 WTN, call us or super text us 615-737-9986. Oftentimes during this severe weather, we depend on you, eyeballs on the scene, to let us know and to let your fellow Tennesseans know what's going on. Jim writes in and says he indicates very similar information to what Mr. Hand has said, that Murfreesboro, South Murfreesboro, right on the line of Christiana, getting incredibly heavy rain, very, very dark, and Jim has is in his shelter as we speak, which if you're on that line, you should be. Bradyville, it's about 349 for you. Woodbury, 357 for you. Cannon County High School, 358 for you. That is the path coming from Christiana just to the north of Bradyville and right on the line of Woodbury. That's where we believe a tornado is passing either over or on the ground right now in our listening area.
And Ken, you know this, if you're driving during a tornado, they say to get to a shelter if you can. If the tornado is far away or still forming, get to the nearest sturdy building and get underground if possible. They also say don't try to outrun a tornado and try to make it to lower ground. And I mean, hopefully there's a lot of sturdy buildings that people can find their way to if they're driving around.
Hey,
well,
Dan,
as unpleasant as it sounds, you also, if there is no shelter, you need to get out of your vehicle and get into a ditch.
It's a preferable option. Absolutely.
It is not a pleasant option, but it is better than being in your vehicle. That is for sure. I'm trying to bring up some traffic cameras right now to see if I can get a look at interstate. I'm looking at 840 right now at Veterans Parkway, where Joan Jones has texted and said
I have Joan
she
on
is
the line,
in that
Tim.
area.
Actually, we've got Joan on the line.
Good.
Yeah,
Joan, tell us what.
Hey, Joan, she's right there on the scene. Joan, take it away.
So we're looking at so much rain coming down right now. A couple of minutes ago, I couldn't see 15 feet out the window, just coming down so hard. So now, I should be in the shelter area, but I'm looking out the front window, and the street that we're on is absolutely flooded right now. And it is just gushing out of out of their gutters down the downspouts. It is the most torrential downpour I've seen in a long time. So for sure, if you're on the roadways, I would absolutely suggest getting under an overpass or doing as you guys were talking about previously, find a ditch and get into that. I'm not seeing any signs of tornadic activity at all. It seems to, the worst of it seems to have passed this area at least, or that's my hope at least.
And
I'm here just west of 24. I am just west of 24 and St. Andrews area. And I can tell you that the winds are really not that much at all. It's just some heavy rain that we have. I'm looking at some traffic cameras right now. Shelbyville Highway right now, mile marker 81. This will be 24. And there's light traffic out there. Folks don't seem to be having any problems on 24 just to the north of Christiana, where this thing was headed earlier.
Yeah, I'm looking at a radar indication that we're right over Christiana right now. Pleasant View is in a path of danger on this storm, and I might be looking at I'm looking at a different map right there. That Pleasant View is in a different location. That's in Bedford County. So this is affecting both Rutherford and Bedford County right now. Tornado warning in effect until 4:15, and there's no indication that we've seen anything on the ground. But, in 2025, when radar indicates that there's rotation above the ground, they're going to call that a tornado warning. They're going to indicate that, and we're going to go live on the air to make sure that people get maximum information so they can remain safe. Yeah, that is Kittrell is just to the north of this line. This hook is just to the east and just to the south of Murfreesboro now. And looks like you're going to split Kittrell, if I'm saying that correctly. And if I'm not, I apologize. But Kittrell or Kittrell, Bradyville is just to the south of where we expect that this tornado would be if it is, in fact, on the ground. And it is heading in a direct path toward Woodbury right now. So if you're in Woodbury,
yes, sir.
You need to make some decisions right now about where you want to go in case this tornado has found its way on the ground, Ken.
Now, the rotation is over Bradyville Pike right now. And as you mentioned, Matt, it is just south of Kittrell, and it is, again, moving at a clip of about 50 miles an hour. So this thing is moving. I mean, this thing has moved miles since we took the air about 15 minutes ago. And the rotation does not seem to be lifting up, which explains why this tornado warning remains in effect until 4:15 here for southeastern Rutherford County. I've looked at a couple of other highway cameras. I saw where Highway 96 and 24, which is Old Fort Parkway here in Murfreesboro, the cameras were shaking because of the wind. So the winds are definitely stiff in some parts of Murfreesboro, and they're a little bit lighter in others. Lynchburg right now. This rotation is right over Lynchburg, Boonville Highway. It is over Winchester Highway, and it is almost to Chestnut Ridge Road from what I'm looking at right now.
Andy indicates on the super text line that trees are down in northern Bedford County. His eyewitness report that he sees trees down on the ground. So that's either a result of a severe straight-line winds, which it could likely be, or, in fact, a tornado, as we've been indicating. Last thing we wanted to do is be on the radio talking about this today. We want you to enjoy your Saturday, albeit a very wet and rainy one, a heavy rainy one. But sadly, we're here to report tornado warnings in our area until at least 4:15, specifically Christiana, Bradyville, Kittrell, and now Woodbury. You're in, and just a little further down the line, if you're in Centertown, that's an area of concern as this system moves, as Ken's been saying. And 50 miles an hour is just an incredibly speedy system, especially something that might be as powerful as this current line is just south of Murfreesboro.
Yeah, I'm seeing also further south of Murfreesboro, it looks like Tullahoma has some rotation that is headed in its direction. So it looks like we may have another tornado warning for southern Middle Tennessee. This one is over Lynchburg, and Manchester, McMinville will be in the path of this particular storm that is showing rotation. So right now we've got the tornado warning for Rutherford County, the rotation that is now moving across southern portions of Murfreesboro. This one is until 4:15 this afternoon.
Yeah, I'm anybody that has any indication about what's going on in these parts of the world, if you are in a safe place and you are able to do so, you're invited to be our eyes and ears on the field. Field producers all at 615-737-9986. That's 615-737-9986. Joan, are you still there? I don't know. I don't think Joan is still there. Joan, be safe and let us know if there's anything that you can report back to us. I did not know if she was there or not. Pulling this out a little bit, I mean, this system is a very serious one. There's a lot of straight line winds associated with it. So even outside of the very specific area where we believe that there might be a tornado, you're looking at Auburn Town just to the north of that. And as Ken indicated, there's now a tornado warning just to the south of this centralized area, right in the Tullahoma area that looks like there's the possibility of some tornadic spin going on too. Joan, are you back?
I am back, yeah.
I just didn't know.
Guys, real quick.
Go ahead.
Rotation is right now about to pass over Highway 70 south and Highway 1 just south of Kittrell.
And this storm, just to give you a broader sense of what we're talking about, it's a system that just passed through Nashville, dumped a tremendous amount of rain in the Nashville metro area and continues to do so. Localized flooding going on. I actually went through some localized flooding on I-40 coming into town westbound, just past the split before you get to the loop. One lane was entirely flooded. So anybody out and about, we don't encourage you to be out and about, but if you are, just be aware there's a lot of ponding going on the roads because of the sheer amount of water that's going down. But this is a line that extends, up through Kentucky, and it comes down in a way where it's going straight through Murfreesboro. It's going down through just almost to Tullahoma. It'll get to Lynchburg and on down to the Alabama line. The biggest area of concern is a place where this line is kind of hooking, and it indicates there's rotation going on there, and that's hence the National Weather Service calls that tornado warning for Kittrell, right, Woodbury, and then that's, I think, Green Hill, and then looking on out because this thing's
a timeline here, Brother Murphy.
Yeah, go hit it, Ken.
Got a timeline. 3:43 right now. This rotation is over Bradyville. In 2 more minutes, it'll be over Curley. At 3:52, Woodbury. At 3:54, Iconium. At 3:56, Leone. I hope that's Leone. It could be Leoni. At 4:01, Blue Hill. At 4:06, Bloomtown. And at 4:08, this rotation will be over Watkins. And again, it looks like, Murphy, that it's holding up its speed. This thing is still moving at a really fast clip.
Which is, it's a good news, bad news situation, right? Because the good news is, at very least, it will get out of here fairly quickly and not dump tremendous amounts of rain on people. The bad news is it can be on you in just in a heartbeat. And while you think you might be safe to take care of a few things in and around the house, you might not be, particularly if you're in these areas that Ken just mentioned, or really in any of these areas where this red line of storms is moving in that general west to east pattern across the state and across Middle Tennessee. Once again, looked as if this was kind of dissipating for most of the afternoon. In our conversations with Ken Weaver and Dan Mandis and Joan Jones, Chris Hand, Chad Benson, the entire crew, if I'm missing anybody, I don't think I am. But in our conversations, we all, I think, were getting the indication that maybe we had kind of dodged the proverbial bullet here, and hence here's the tornado warning before you know it, up until 4:15 this afternoon.
Yeah, 4:15 until this afternoon. I would not be surprised if the southern tip of Wilson County went under at this point. It is not right now, but I wouldn't be surprised. If I was in the southern tip of Wilson County, I would be prepared just in case, because southern Wilson County is under a severe thunderstorm warning. And, of course, any severe thunderstorm that pops under this tornado watch area, which we're in right now, has the potential for this rotation, which prompts the tornado warning.
And we now have tornado warnings for 5 different counties. We've got Rutherford County under a tornado warning. Cannon, Lincoln, Moore, and Franklin counties are all currently in a tornado warning. So apparently this line is fired back up, and it's starting to wreak a little bit of chaos in that part of Middle Tennessee. And I don't know, some of those counties I know are out of our listening area, but just want to make you aware. Lincoln County, you're under a tornado warning. Bedford County, I believe, is still under a tornado warning. Rutherford, Cannon, Moore, and Franklin counties all under warnings. Once again, and I'll repeat myself. I don't know about anybody else, but I'll repeat myself a lot. But I think it merits.
That's what we do in these.
That's what we do in these things. But it merits repeating that you just know that a tornado warning doesn't mean that there's necessarily a tornado on the ground, but one could be on the ground at any second. And that's why we try to impress upon you to do the things that you have thought about doing or trained to do in the case that you get something like this in your area.
Sharon, by the way, on the super text line, she says that she is close to the Bradyville Pike. She says she hasn't seen any tornadoes. She says we did have some wind and heavy rain. I can tell you from my vantage point, guys, in Mount Juliet, the rain, I have not seen that kind of rain in a long time. It was big drops and a lot of wind. And as you were saying, Matt, we thought that we had, as we said, dodged a bullet. Unfortunately, here we are.
And that's just the kind of the way it goes in Middle Tennessee. These things fire back up, and I nerd out on these weather things sometimes when some severe weather is coming our way. And the indication was that you want the rain to continue throughout the course of the late morning and early afternoon, because it kind of wrings the rag dry, if you will, and there's really no more moisture to fire these types of storms up. Sadly, it doesn't look like that happened. And now in the late afternoon on Saturday the 15th, we've got these things popping up. We just hope that if they do hit the ground, they don't hit the ground in any populated areas, but hopefully they're not getting to the ground. We've got no reports thus far since we've been on air that there's an actual tornado on the ground, either from our resources, WSMV, the National Weather Service, and the multitude of other resources that we have at our fingertips on social media platforms. I think, is Chris Hand back up? Did you mention that, Mason? Hand is back up, and I'm.
Yeah, what's up, guys?
Yeah, Hand.
Chris.
Talk to us about. I mean, obviously, you were kind of right there in the epicenter of it. What was going down in Murfreesboro?
Well, yeah, I mean the rain started picking up. It did sound like there was hail hitting. I haven't confirmed that visually because I'm not going outside. But then the sirens started over at MTSU, and once the sirens started, it's like, all right, kids, let's wake up and go get in that closet. And we pulled 4 kids and 2 dogs into a closet, and we kind of sat for a little bit. The sirens stopped at MTSU. And I was listening to you guys. We had the radio cranked all the way up, so I heard you saying, it's headed more towards Woodbury. Which, hopefully I haven't heard anything being confirmed on the ground, but hopefully everybody's okay out there. But that was kind of my go ahead to say, okay, I think we're good. Soon after that, the sirens stopped, and the rain has somewhat subsided out here. It was coming down very, very heavy, but as of right now, it does seem to be calming down in the Murfreesboro area. We're right near MTSU, so it does look good, better than it did.
Real quick, before we take a break, I've got a rundown on where this rotation is headed. 348 Culpeper, 352 Woodbury, 359 Bates Hill, 402 Blue Hill, 407 Bloomtown, 410 Dibrill, 413 Smithville, 417 Young Bend, 423 Peeled Chestnut, and 426 Cassville. Part of this tornado warning in effect until 4:15 for Rutherford County.
Joan Jones, Chris Hand, Chad Benson on the way in, Dan Mandis, Matt Murphy, Mason Fleming behind the glass, reporting live to you on Supertalk 99.7 WTN. Tornado warnings in our area: Rutherford, Cannon, Lincoln, Moore, and Franklin counties, all under tornado warnings. Quick timeout, and we'll be back. We'll reset in just a moment on Supertalk 99.7 WTN. All right, hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy in the studio at Supertalk 99.7 WTN in downtown Nashville, where things are relatively calm in Nashville proper and really in most parts of Davidson County. Really all points east, or rather west, I should say, of I-65 are generally speaking in the clear for the severe weather that we are on air for. We are on air because of a tornado warning that's been issued for a number of different counties, and I'm going to introduce some of the players that we've got covering this for you comprehensively all over the state of Tennessee, and then I'll let Ken Weaver tell you exactly where those tornado warnings are and what they are all about. Joan Jones is on the line. She's reporting for us. Chris Hand's on socials. He's reporting for us. Both of those guys are just south of the city and a little bit to the east of the city. I believe we have Dan Mandis in Mount Juliet, and then Brian Wilson's out in Watertown, and he's going to jump on here with us in just a little bit. Chad Benson on his way into studio. Ken Weaver, our news director from his home base down in Murfreesboro. We've got at least, by my count, 4, if not 5 counties that are currently under a tornado warning right now, sir.
Well, we just had a new tornado warning issued for Cannon County until 4:30. This is a radar-indicated rotation tornado warning. A severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located 9 miles southwest of Woodbury, moving east at 55 miles per hour. So this thing is moving. Other locations impacted will be Auburntown, Bradyville, and Reedyville. This dangerous storm will be near Woodbury. Actually, it has already been there at Woodbury, and it is moving on now for Cannon County. This rotation indicated tornado warning for Cannon County until 4:30. I have some other tracking information. One of the tornadoes that, or not the tornado, but the rotation that prompted the tornado warning for Rutherford County, some of the areas that are in the direct path, well, that just went away from me. I am sorry about that. No, here we go. Woodbury, that thing has passed Woodbury by. At 4:02, it is going to be in Blue Hill. At 4:10, Watkins. The rotation will be at Smithville at 4:14. It'll be at Keltonburg at 4:15. And then 4:23, Peeled Chestnut. 4:26, Cassville. 4:31, Baker's Crossroads. And 4:34, Sparta. This is part of that tornado warning issued for Rutherford County until 4:15. But again, we just have the brand new one now. National Weather Service in Nashville issuing the tornado warning for Cannon County until 4:30. This rotation is moving at a clip of 55 miles per hour.
A couple of folks on the Super Text line giving us some field reports as to what they are seeing in this part of the world. Dave says we're in Grant. The wind has changed dramatically from south to north. It's concerning. Brock says at World Outreach Church in the borough, it's crazy wind and crazy rain. And then let's see, all the way to I live in Lincoln County, and I can hear you all fine all the way to Decatur. So very good, and thank you for listening. And that's what we're here for, to make sure that everybody has the information that they need in a timely fashion to make the decisions that they need to make. I know we got a lot of players on the phones and on the line. I just want to go around and talk to each of you and figure out what's going on in your neck of the woods. Joan, anything of interest where you are? I don't know if Joan's still there or not. I thought she was. Joan might have dropped off on us. Cell phone services, and as wonderful as it is to have these technologies, maybe she did. Chris Hand, are you there?
I am, sir, and we are live in Murfreesboro. The rain has absolutely subsided and slowed down. It was definitely looking dicey there for a few moments. I was looking at the Super Text line as well. People over on the other side of town at World Outreach Church echoing the same sentiment about the wind and the rain that we had coming through. As of right now, it does seem like we have the all clear. The National Weather Service put out the all clear for Murfreesboro City, and it does seem like we're out of the line of fire for now.
And I believe we have, and thank you, Chris Hand, for that report. I believe we have Brian Wilson on the line with us. He's out in Watertown, and just to get a sense of what's going on out there and what he sees from his perspective, Brian Wilson, welcome in.
Well, thank you very much. Glad to hear Watertown is going to be safe, because if they've worried that the just south of here is that storm that has been giving Murfreesboro such trouble. So been watching here. I just came into the studio. I got to tell you, very, very, very heavy rain here. storm, lightning, but I'm glad to hear, of course, that the tornado warning that was just due south of us here has apparently been given the all clear.
Brian, it looks like the rotation is going to move beyond south of Watertown too. So you are definitely in the clear. However, Smithville, DeBrell, McMinville, and Centertown, you are in the path.
And I'm looking also, Ken, at Lynchburg, Hilltop, and Tullahoma, Tennessee. There is a path of rotation that is happening there. Once again, we like to repeat, we've not seen these on the ground, no indication that they're on the ground, but that rotation exists. Moving toward Tullahoma, Still Springs, and just north of Swanee. That would be kind of the area where it's heading toward in that neck. Dan, I know that Dan Mandis is also here. He's posted out in Mount Juliet. Do you have anything there, Dan?
No, I can tell you that earlier it was really hairy, but so far we obviously have seen a lot of rain, a lot of wind. One thing we have to make sure that we remind people is that there's a lot of water. There's, of course, the possibility of tornadic activity, but the big concern is flooding, as we like to say, turn around, don't drown.
Dan, you couldn't be more right about that, because one of the things that people think about is tornadoes are dangerous, and yes, they are, and you need to take them serious, and straight-line winds can do damage. Yes, they can. But most often, it's the water that causes death. And the rising water with all of the heavy rains we've had is something to take very seriously. When they say, don't drown, turn around, it's really good advice. Don't go into that deeper water, because if you do, I think you'll really find yourself in trouble. And you're putting other people at risk when you decide, well, I know better, I can get across that water. And then you find out you can't. And then you put other people at risk because they have to come and rescue. So just don't go into water that you're uncertain about.
And even,
boys, I am seeing 3 areas of rotation with this line of storms that has prompted the tornado warning for Rutherford County, even though it has moved well beyond Murfreesboro now to the east, and is gonna miss you, Brian, to the south of Watertown. But News 2 is showing 3 areas of rotation in this line. And here are the communities that are in the path and the times that this rotation will be over them. At 4:10, West Riverside. At 4:11, McMinville. At 4:16, Shellsford. At 4:22, Campaign. At 4:27, Cassville. At 4:33, Spencer. At 4:35, Sparta. At 4:42, Mooneyham, and at 4:46, Rossett. And again, what I'm seeing on News 2's radar is three areas of rotation with this portion of this line of storms that has prompted the Rutherford County tornado warning, which is set to expire at 4:15.
And along with the tornado warnings, there are severe thunderstorm warnings all throughout our area as well. Bedford County, of course, Marshall County, I believe Murray County is affected as well. And obviously Rutherford County. These are severe thunderstorm warnings, which can produce hail, very strong winds, a tremendous amount of rain, and just about everywhere east of a line, every county in our listening area east of a line on I-65, you're already in a flash flood warning, and I would expect that all of the flash flood watches that are currently in effect for every county in our listening area will become warnings just because of the sheer amount of water that's coming out of the sky and being dumped on our streets and on our roadways. But there will be a flash flood warning in your community before all is said and done if you're in our listening area in the middle part of Tennessee.
And this feels a little bit cleanup-y, but the tornado watch, originally scheduled to expire at 9 p.m., has been canceled early for both the Davidson and Williamson counties, so at least that. But, of course, this system is moving to the east and causing a lot of havoc. Really, I guess, guys, it's Murfreesboro and heading east into those eastern counties, east of Murfreesboro at about what, Ken, you said 50 mile an hour?
Yeah, it's 50 mile an hour storm. It has not slowed down. And in fact, when you look at radar, you can tell where the fastest part of this line is. And it is exactly where I'm seeing these now. It's back down to 2 areas of rotation with this line, but I think it's what they call kind of a bow. It's when that line bows out, and the area that is showing the most wind velocity is headed right toward McMinville, where I'm looking at on radar right now. Centertown, it looks like a rotation is right over Centertown now.
Sure does, yeah.
Yep. And this is a tornado warning that is impacting Centertown, McMinville, Dibrell, Campaign, Spencer, Mooneyham, Sparta, Doyle. All of you are in direct path of this line of this portion of this line of storms that has the 2 areas of rotation prompting this tornado warning.
And I'm seeing it's going to hit McMinville right about 4:37. Ken, is that what you're seeing?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And as this system moves at a very, very rapid rate, obviously, if you are west of the
I'm sorry, 411. 411 McMinville. I'm sorry, 411.
If you are moving, if you're west of the areas that we're talking about, generally speaking, you're still going to get rain, you're still going to get wind, but you are past the big danger of some of these pop-up tornadoes that we've been talking about and these tornado warnings that we've been talking about. But if you are just to the east of some of these communities that we're talking about, just think about the map, then you are in a spot of danger. We've got Chad Benson joining us in studio here in downtown Nashville to complete the coverage. I think we've got all of the folks on board. Chad, what do you got?
It is beyond nasty out there, man. I tell you what, it is. It started last night. It's continuing to start, and it's how fast. Ken, you and I talked about this. It's 1 minute. It looks like you're going to miss something the next minute. It's like you got a tornado warning, and it's that start-stop kind of thing because nature does what nature does. And nature is nasty out there. I think basically everybody, if you're anywhere near this, you just have to hunker down and be smart.
Give us a call. If you see anything, please say something. If you believe it to be important to the listening audience in general, 615-737-9986. The phone lines are open. The super text line is also open at 615-737-9986. We've got the entire team here: Joan Jones, Chris Hand, Ken Weaver, Brian Wilson, Dan Mandis, Chad Benson, Matt Murphy, Mason Fleming, capably running things back in the control area. And we're here for you for the duration. We don't want to be here, but we will be here. I promise you that. But
I'm happy to be here. This is what we do.
That's right.
McMinville, though, is a target center right now of a couple of tornadoes that are said to be shown radar indicated, but both of them, one to the northeast, one to the southeast, and they are McMinville. If I were in McMinville, I would be hunkering down right now in a big way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, McMinville has a tornado warning until 4:45, and then we have Cannon County. They have a tornado warning continuing until about 4:30.
Yeah, that's right, Chris. They just now issued that tornado warning. This is going to be for DeKalb, Van Buren, Warren, and White counties until 4:45. Radar is indicating rotation with this severe thunderstorm. It is moving at 50 miles per hour. And McMinville, it is almost upon you now. Other locations to be impacted by this brand new tornado warning include Rock Island State Park, Morrison, Doyle, and Centertown.
And I misspoke.
Yeah, go ahead.
I misspoke. Those were northwest and northeast of southwest and northwest of McMinville now.
Yes, sir. And that rotation is knocking on McMinville's door. And again, this is where the part of that line is bowing that indicates the very high winds.
Yeah, so Green Hill, it's on you in about 5 minutes. McMinville, it's on you. Laurelburg, it's coming your way. Then after that, it's in the range of possibility includes Sparta just to the north. I think that's Spencer just to the south. So it is moving at a very rapid clip. We keep reiterating this, so it can be on you very, very quickly if you're to the east of this storm system that's bowing out in this fashion. Yeah. We focus on this one because this is where we believe the tornado is.
That's right.
And if you're out there, and some people are still traveling, because if you're on the roads, people may think it was dry an hour ago, and it's not right now. You've got to get to a place where you're safe because it comes, and you know what? And Ken, you and I have talked about this as well. that you think it's one place and how fast this thing can move and how fast it could change, getting stuck in areas of water and stuff. Just get to a place that's safe.
Yeah, but best of all, don't get out at all if you can avoid it.
Yeah,
because
some of
these areas, I'm watching radar, and it goes from red to from yellow to red in like no time at all.
Snap of the fingers.
Yeah, you'll be 2 minutes. You'll be in yellow, and the next thing you know, it's gone solid red on the radar.
100-mile-an-hour winds.
That's
I
what
got a
happened
new
to us
tracking, boys. Got a new tracking. Rotation right now is right in between McMinville and DeBrell. DeBrell and McMinville. This rotation is actually covering both of these locations. It's saying 412. It's going to be over McMinville, and that's less than a minute. So you definitely need to be undercover.
Buckle up.
418.
Here we go.
418 Keltonburg, 422 Campaign, 427 Quebec, 430 Sparkman, 435 Spencer, 437 Sparta, 444 Bonaire, and it is continuing to move at a clip of about 50 miles per hour.
This is real.
Yeah, no doubt. And I'm getting some reports on the scene from listeners. Alexandria, heavy downpours, streak lightning on the DeKalb, Smith County line. Winchester, Franklin County checking in, saying heavy rains and thunder. So, I mean, there's heavy rain, thunder associated with this entire storm, and we're really focusing in on this McMinville area because that is the place that we believe a tornado perhaps can be on the ground. It's been radar indicated. A warning is in place. That tornado warning extends until 4:45. Ken, is that right?
That is until 4:45.
And I have WSMV4 has warnings in Cannon, Warren, DeKalb, Van Buren, and White. And I'm looking up on my monitor here in the studio. That is Cannon, Warren, DeKalb, Van Buren, and White. I don't see the National Weather Service has that many counties, but sometimes meteorologists feel comfortable in declaring warnings, and I won't question any of that.
A little safer than sorry kind of thing.
Yeah,
Let's
be
just
safer than sorry. That's exactly right. So just to suffice it to say, if I just said your county name, you are in a very, very bad way weather-wise, and you need to, just take that plan of action just to be safe.
Due south and the disturbing thing right now. Due south. I mean, that is. I'm looking at the amount of clutter.
The radar looks bad.
The radar and the debris trackers, and that one looks to be significant. It really does look to be significant. Just to the west of McMinville, in the area of a little town called Drybrel, I believe it's called Drybrel. And that's where that's the one you got to watch real close right now because that seems to be filling up a lot. That seems to, at least looking at the radar, to be a really serious storm.
Yeah, in fact, it is going to be right over Dibble here in less than a minute. It's going to be in Bluff Springs at 4:16. It's going to be in Belk at 4:20. It's going to be in Campaign at 4:23. It's going to be Rock Island at 4:24. Quebec at 4:28. Then at 4:32 in Doyle, 4:35 Cummingsville, and at 4:37 Sparta.
Yep.
All right, we're going to have to take a short time out in just the next couple of minutes, so I want to kind of go around the room just a moment and get the sense of what you guys see individually. And I'm going to start with Joan Jones. One, just to do a safety check on Joan to make sure she's doing okay, and to see what she sees from her neck of the woods. Joan, what do you have?
Hey, Matt. So I'm seeing actually the return of some rain here in Murfreesboro is where I am. And I'm really not that far from World Outreach Church. So the rain has started to come down again, not quite in the buckets that it was earlier. But, yeah, we are seeing a return of rain. But the wind has died down, and it's really it looks more like a normal sort of a springtime rain. We're not seeing any severe weather here right now.
Chris Hand, what do you see?
It's not really what I'm seeing. The rain isn't there, but we are hearing the thunder. That is still kicking up a bit, and it's a lot calmer than it was. I mean, when we go to break, I'm probably going to run the dogs out real quick, but who knows how long this is going to last.
Well, that's right. I mean, because there's a lot of rain and wind coming in behind this thing, too, as well. Chad, what do you think?
I think there's a bunch of crazy people walking down the street today who are tourists here, not really expecting this. But what I see is how fast this thing's moving. When I got here, Spencer had nothing over it. Now it's looking like it's already getting ready to come down. This thing's moving fast. People, keep your heads on a swivel because it is coming, and nature's wrath is being felt right now.
Brian Wilson, what do you think?
Well, in Watertown, it is uncommonly calm at the moment, and I don't like that feeling. You know how it is in tornado weather when it gets real calm before the storm?
Oh, yeah.
But we do have we have a calm bit. Looking due south of here, we're very worried about that tornado that is on the ground, apparently, and is I don't know, it's radar indicated at this moment, but it looks awful real to me. Headed toward McMinville, and then on towards Sparta. That's the one that I'm watching most closely.
Dan Mandis, what are your thoughts?
Well, it looks like you do have the rotation now. They're right heading into that Debrel is what I'm seeing. And as far as Mount Juliet goes, we have the rain. It is started up again. We do have some wind. And remember what to do in case you are stuck near a tornado is coming to you. If you're in a car and a tornado is bearing down on you, we talked about this earlier, if you can pull over and try to duck and cover in a ditch or a low spot, you want to do that. If you have to ditch your car, get away from it because it could go flying. And, of course, if you are inside a home without a basement, and Ken, you know all about this, you've got to go to an interior room, someplace where if there's 2 levels, make sure that you're not underneath some sort of a big, large, heavy item that might be on the second floor that might come through the floor and on top of you if you're on the first floor. So there's a lot of things that folks need to keep in mind if you find yourself with a tornado bearing down on you.
What about it, Ken? What do you think?
Well, the rotation right now has now gone southwest, or rather southeast of Debrel. So Debrel is out of the line of fire from this rotation. However, Campaign is in the direct line of fire of this thing. And again, it's moving at a 50-mile-an-hour clip.
Before we get to a break, I want to go to the phone lines. We invite you to be our field producers, our eyes and ears on the scene in these terrible weather situations. And Jason has called in with some information regarding evacuation shelters. Jason, you're on Supertalk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, guys, how's it going, man? Hey, just wanted to let you guys know, rain's starting to pick up a little here. Winds are still at a minimal. But when we first got the order to either take shelter or evacuate basement, what have you, me and my son immediately left our house. It was off of St. Andrews and Old Ford Parkway, and we shot up the Coles, figuring that, hey, that would be a great place to go shelter. You know, it's a huge structure. They locked the doors on everybody. So 12 people outside banging on the windows. So it's like, oh my God. So, and the winds are already like, I don't know, I don't want to exaggerate, 40, 50 miles an hour, and golf ball size raindrops. So we ran down to the Kroger right next door, and they welcomed us with open arms. Oh my God, shout out to them, and boo on Coles.
Okay.
All right, Jason. Thank you so much, Jason, for the call and
but I still have some of those coupons to spend there, so I'll be going back.
Well,
Coles Cash.
Yeah, Coles Cash.
I still have my Bed Bath & Beyond coupons. I'm waiting to spend those.
Those are going to be good, man.
Yeah, those are going to be good for me. Okay, so we'll take a quick time out. We'll reset here and get you back to what you need to know, especially about the situation in the greater McMinville area, and we'll do that next on Supertalk 99.7 WTN. Good afternoon. My name is Matt Murphy. It is 4:22, and we are live on Supertalk 99.7 WTN due to severe weather and primarily the tornado warnings that are in our listening area. And the entire team is here to report to you what we see, what we know, and in a way that can help you make decisions on your Saturday afternoon. I'm going to introduce all of the folks in the room, and then I'll kind of go around the room and see what you guys see in the short break. Obviously, this thing has moved. We've got a tornado warning on the scene, and I'm going to start with our news director, Ken Weaver. Ken, where is this warning right now, and what do we know?
All right, this warning is well southeast of Nashville, and it is moving to the east at 40 miles per hour. This is a tornado warning until 4:45 for DeKalb, Van Buren, Warren, and White counties. This is radar-indicated rotation. This is the same rotation that prompted the tornado warning for Rutherford County. This rotation has not let up, and at times there have been 2 or 3 areas of rotation with this portion of this line of thunderstorms that is prompting the tornado warning. So a tornado warning for those counties until 4:45. Right now, I'm going to run down the list of communities that are in the direct path of this storm. In just 1 minute, it's going to be over Campaign. In 2 minutes, it'll be over Rock Island. At 4:29, Quebec. At 4:33, Doyle. At 4:35, Cummingsville. At 4:38, Sparta. At 4:45, Bonaire. At 4:48, DeRosset. And at 4:50, Ravenscroft. Again, this is a radar-indicated tornado warning. This radar is moving east at 40 miles per hour, so it slowed down a little bit. It was at 50 miles an hour. It's now at 40 miles per hour.
All right, we've got a lot of cooks in the kitchen, a full team approach to the severe weather that's happening right now across Middle Tennessee. I'm going to hand off to Dan Mandis and see what Dan sees and what's of import to him. Dan, what do you got?
Well, I can't say it enough. First of all, I got some notes from some folks in Murfreesboro. They are saying and seeing that some roads are flooded. They weren't actually specific as to which roads. I'm hoping that they'll get back to me. But I did have a couple of people talk about the roads and how there is flooding. I think, is it safe to say, guys, that there is flooding all across Middle Tennessee? I think that that's safe to say.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So turn around, don't drown, and clearly one of the things that we'll have to watch is after this line of storms continues to head east, north and east, is there anything, and Ken, this is a great question for you, is there anything that is going to come up behind it, or once these continue to move on, is that it for the weekend?
The only thing that concerns me is we still have a lot. Part of this line here in Middle Tennessee is connected to the line that has hammered Mississippi and Alabama. Mm-hmm. And again, the storms in this line are moving north.
Yeah, they're going so north, Ken. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's the only thing that concerns me. Now, right now, radar indicates all that is behind this line: Nashville, Franklin, Lebanon, Mount Juliet, Murfreesboro, places like that. There's just some areas of heavy rain, but right. I'm worried about the more intense part of this line in Mississippi and Alabama. Again, all of these storms are moving north. That may be why they have been reluctant to pull the tornado watch for portions east of Nashville. Right now, that tornado watch remains in effect until 9 o'clock for everybody pretty much east of Nashville. And that may be why they haven't pulled it yet, because we still have some very scary activity down in Mississippi and Alabama.
And to your point, Dan, there's flash flooding everywhere, yes. But the National Weather Service has indicated a flash flood warning specifically for Cheatham County, Davidson County, Dixon County, Montgomery County, Robertson County, Sumner County, and Wilson County. So obviously the vast majority of the counties, and if your name wasn't called, if you're in a county where your name wasn't called, it will be.
It will be.
At some point.
And be smart about it, guys. Be smart. And Dan brought up earlier, turn around, don't drown, because too many people, and we've talked about this before, they think they're out there. They may just be out there because they were out there earlier. There was no rain. If you think it is deep, it's deep. If you think it's not deep, it's deep. Don't drive your car. Pull over. This too shall pass.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, if I may just throw this in real quick, Ken, you were talking about all of the storms down in Mississippi, Alabama, and seeing the line of storms heading north and east towards our neck of the woods. I'm fast forwarding on the radar, and we may see issues and have concerns all the way towards 9, 10 o'clock tonight.
That's
if I could jump in here, I would say that the thing that we need to really warn people about is what's about to happen to Sparta.
Yeah.
Because that tornado is headed dead for Sparta.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're in Sparta right now, I would suggest that this would be a good time for you to go to shelter and just wait. I mean, this tornado has been bothering us for some time now, and it seems to be very solid. It seems to be very well defined. And if I were in Sparta right now, I'd be crawling into my closet.
Well, and it's good that you brought that up, because folks in Sparta and Doyle specifically, Doyle, this thing's going to be over you in 2 minutes. Old Zion in 2 minutes. It's going to be over Sparta in 6 minutes. Actually, 8 minutes. I'm sorry. Yankeetown at 4:41, Board Valley at 4:47, DeRosset at 4:49, Ravenscroft at 4:51, and Pleasant Hill 4:59.
Can I throw in one question? And I know that there's some debate over what to do if there's a tornado bearing down on where you are and you live in a mobile home. Some places will tell you, leave the mobile home, don't shelter inside the mobile home, because if there's a tornado and it picks up the mobile home, then you're going to be in a lot of trouble. It's actually safer, many say, to leave that mobile home and try to find a ditch, a ravine, that kind of thing, to try to take shelter in.
The concern is you can't, if you live in a mobile home, you can't wait till the last second. You have to do this in advance. You can't wait till it's bearing down upon you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
I feel safe and comfortable in saying that I am the most experienced mobile home resident of the group. Because early in my childhood, I grew up in a mobile home, and I've lived in several trailers over the years. Don't stay in a trailer.
Yeah,
I mean, I understand that, look, mobile homes have gotten better. Obviously, nobody's knocking it. Nobody's knocking you. We love you. We want you to live, and that's the whole point. And sadly, they moved it there. That means a tornado can move it away, and we need to get into a better structure.
And you know what? And this is something, if it's heading towards you and it's still a little bit ways out, if you got a neighbor that maybe isn't mobile, if you've got some people that maybe are mobile, make sure you check on them and help them, because I think too often we think about ourselves. But if you've got some time, check on that person that maybe down the street who's a little bit elderly or maybe can't get around, because they're sitting ducks, if you will, if this thing rolls through, and they may not have any help.
Oh, we also have Joan Jones and Chris Hand, the entire team here, offering coverage to you on Supertalk 99.7 WTN. I'll pitch to Joan and ask Joan your thoughts on any of this, any mobile home thoughts or any thoughts otherwise about the severe weather, Joan.
Yeah, I have to say that from my vantage point, it's looking so much less likely that we're going to see anything in the near future that would make us have concern. But I was looking at the same map that you guys are, and I'm seeing that the backside of the storm looks like it's heading northeastward. I don't think that we're going to be completely out of the woods until later tonight. So we really need to keep weather alert for a good while longer tonight.
Yeah, it's one of these systems that you expect a system to move more west to east than south to north, and this system seems to have more of a south to north movement than a west to east movement. It's moving fast, but that it's just pushing that moisture from the Gulf of America up through the state of Alabama and then into what do you like that, Brian? I love saying the Gulf of America.
How you slipped that in. Yeah,
slipped right in there.
We are political talk. But I'm telling you, on the radar, I'm really concerned about this tornado that the radar indicated. It's headed towards Sparta and Doyle right now, and when you look at the radar, that's a classic tornado sort of signature on the radar. So they've got real rotation, and that is serious. And
Go ahead, Brian.
No, you go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, it is the only rotation we have right now in the entire state of Tennessee. This is the only tornado warning we have.
But it looks really well defined. You agree?
Oh, yes, absolutely. And Sparta is definitely under the gun. I've got a new tracker here. Sparta, it will be over you in 5 minutes. And the way this is going, Sparta will be right in the middle of this rotation. Doyle, you're actually just about, it's over you right now, Doyle. 443, it's going to be over Lost Creek. 444, Bon Air. 448, DeRosset. 455, Pleasant Hill. 458, Mayend. 502, Crossville. And then 504, Creston. So this thing is moving well away from the Nashville area right now. It's still at a 40-mile-per-hour clip. So it's going to be interesting to see if this rotation stays together and they extend this tornado warning beyond 445, which is about 12 minutes from now.
Well, and obviously we're reaching, kind of that line of demarcation where we consider it our listening area. We're going to fall on the side of making sure that we have coverage for those people on that side of that line. We want to make sure that if you're listening in Sparta and Doyle and Pleasant Hill or anywhere over there, either on the radio or on your app or watching on our streaming platforms, that you have the information that you need. We want to be here for you for that. We're here when their tornado warnings are out. Supertalk 99.7 WTN is going to be in, and we're going to be here for you, not to scare you, not to freak you out, but just to make sure that you have maximum information to make some decisions for your family. There's severe weather all across the state, not just the tornado warning. Obviously, that's our area of emphasis, but severe thunderstorm warnings, flash flood warnings, as we've been saying, and high wind warnings, et cetera, due to this major storm that is popping the state of Tennessee. And I got to say, guys, and I know that I'm a little biased because I spent 20 years down there, but just absolutely hammering our neighbor to the south.
Yes, it is.
Alabama is getting creamed, and I got, of course, have family down there, so I watch it very closely. And I mean, it is ugly down there. And that's the thing. The storm is very much more severe the further south you go right now, and it is really hitting places like Birmingham and points north in a very significant way. And it is uglier for them than it is for us, mostly because the temperatures were warmer earlier in the day, and that causes more potential tornadoes, etc. We stayed a little bit cooler than they did, so we got off a little easier. It is the east side of this storm that is the most concerning, that leading edge. And once it passes through, you still got a ton of rain, but at least the severe weather seems to be right on that leading edge of the storm.
Well, and I hope all those spring breakers are safe on their way back, because 65 gets bumper to bumper when folks are coming back.
Yes, Saturday afternoons, that's big time, 65 bumper to bumper time.
Absolutely, right.
Because those condos close out on Saturday mornings, and so there's a lot of folks on the roadways, and hopefully they got the heads up. That's a good point, Ken, that they got the heads up to stay off the roadways during this storm. And here's the thing, this storm, if you're looking at a radar, and I know we've got a bunch of them up in our various places, it's not a skinny thing, right? I mean, the maximum wind power is kind of a skinny. That red line is skinny, but this thing is
behind it still
huge.
has huge amounts of precipitation to dump on us for hey, Ken, how much longer, once this thing moves through in certain areas, we still have several hours of looks like torrential rain.
Oh, yeah. Well, they're saying that, we will at least be getting rain up until 10 o'clock tonight.
I agree.
And the scary part about it is pretty much all of Middle Tennessee is under a flash flood warning right now.
Yes.
So
you're not out of the woods once the heavy, potential tornado rolls through, then it's the 1-2 punch after that.
That's right. Well, and you've got the runoff too. So you've already got flash flooding going on, and it's going to be raining until at least 10 o'clock tonight. Even if the severe threat, subsides before then, you're still going to be dealing with that rain.
It is 36 minutes after 4 o'clock, Middle Tennessee time. Supertalk 99.7 WTN. We thank you for listening. We are here live this afternoon due to a tornado warning primarily, but the severe weather more generally. The entire team is here on Supertalk 99.7 WTN. And I want to reset on this tornado, Ken. The tornado warning that is causing a lot of concern over Sparta, Bon Air, Pleasant Hill, Monterey High School, and the Plateau is expected to be hit over the course of the next 10 or so minutes. And this is the big area of concern, that there might be some major devastation going on should this tornado be on the ground.
Right. This tornado warning is still in effect for about the next 7 minutes. So we've 12 minutes. I'm sorry. Wait a minute. 4:45. It's in
9 minutes.
effect until 4:45, 9 minutes. So we've got Sparta is still in the path of this. Actually, the rotation is over Sparta now. It is over Sparta, and the rotation has actually picked up in speed. It is now moving to the east at 50 miles per hour. And of
Sparta
course, this is the
boy. Buckle up right now if you're in Sparta. I mean, don't hesitate.
Right. And again, it's radar indicated. We don't have any indication of there being a touchdown, but radar is indicating the rotation, and Sparta is right in the middle of it.
I am getting a report from a super texter, and we so value these reports either on the phone lines or the super text line at 615-737-9986. You can call it in or you can text it in, but we're getting a report that on 24, where is it? Oh, Chris, do you have this tip? Did you get this? I don't want to get
24 eastbound, exit 89. About a half mile, multiple trees in the roadway. Authorities on site, backed up a few miles. Again, that's going to be I-24 eastbound, exit 89.
That's going to be right in the area of I-24 where a tornado might have crossed this earlier crossing. I think that's just east of Christiana, is it not? I want to say that's correct, but let me see. I'm just going to look here.
I am not sure. I really don't know mile markers. I just know land markers and the such. So let's see here.
Man,
okay,
yeah, I'm looking at a big swath of red on the road southbound.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Interstate 24. This is eastbound in Rutherford County. Debris on the road is across the interstate. The right lane is blocked. So is the right shoulder. There's only one lane open. And it is backing up quite a bit because you already have, you've got people who are having to slow down to get to it, and the roadway is still very wet. But that is mile marker 85. It is just west of Elam Road, 24 eastbound, where debris is blocking the right lane and the right shoulder. However, there's not a camera there to where I can see exactly what the debris is, and TDOT isn't describing the debris, just that it is debris.
The report from the super texter was that it was down trees.
Yes. And I believe it too, Brother Chris, because that is just east of Christiana, who one of us mentioned just moments ago, and that is the path where this rotation we're following now went through, which has prompted this tornado warning, starting with Rutherford County over an hour ago.
Yeah, we're getting indication from the super text line. That's around the Love's truck stop in Murfreesboro, for those of you that know that area. And that's exactly where we would have seen the tornado, or at least something that was, we don't know if there's one on the ground, and I don't want to say that there was, but we've not had that indication. But obviously, this is evidence.
It could also be straight line winds at this point. These thunderstorms are that severe. Yeah.
All right, Mason. Do we have a timeout that we need to take? Okay, I tell you what. Let's reset right now, and we've got about 5 minutes to go before this tornado warning expires. And I'll let Ken Weaver tell you all about that in just a moment. We've got the entire team: Joan Jones, Chris Hand, Matt Murphy, Chad Benson, Dan Mandis, Brian Wilson, and the aforementioned Mr. Weaver with Mason Fleming behind the glass. We'll be back in just a moment on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Supertalk 99.7 WTN. It is 4:47 and a good afternoon, as good as it can be with the nasty weather moving through our area. We have the entire team at Supertalk 99.7 WTN here for you as we have tornado warnings in our listening area, around our listening area, and a couple of additional ones have been called for some additional counties. I'm going to lean on Ken Weaver for that report. Ken, it's my understanding we've got a Putnam County, White County, Cumberland County tornado warning that has been issued by the National Weather Service. Are you seeing that as well?
I am seeing that. That is until 5:30, and this, again, is this same rotation we have been covering and following since Murfreesboro, going on well over an hour ago. It is moving 45 miles to the east, and this tornado warning is until 5:30. This is 117 miles east of Nashville, and it is holding together. It has been together ever since Murfreesboro, but again, we have no indication that anything has touched down. Again, this is still just radar indicated. So just about 2 minutes ago, this severe thunderstorm, the same one, capable of producing a tornado, was 7 miles northeast of Sparta, moving northeast at 45. So Sparta is now in the clear of this rotation, and I sure hope everybody is okay there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Haven't heard any reports of any damage there, but of course, it just went over. Other locations impacted by this tornadic thunderstorm include Pleasant Hill. This also includes I-40 between mile markers 296 and 314. Again, this storm moving to the northeast at 45 miles per hour. Tornado warning in effect until 5:30 for northwest Cumberland, White, and Putnam counties. Looks like the warning that was for Sparta has been allowed to expire.
Just going around the room here, who's got anything? Brian, you got something over there in Watertown?
No, it's really remarkably. I'm looking out my window, and I have a whole, as you know, a row of Bradford pears, and they're in full bloom, and there's no wind at all. It's very strange. It's very still here in Watertown. The main part of the storm has pushed through to the east, and of course, I'm very curious as to what happened in Sparta. If there's anybody in Sparta, who can give us an update on what has occurred there, I would love to hear that on our super text line. 615-737-9986. Love to hear that. Give us a call and let us know. But other than that, all clear. And it looks like we are getting close to the point where the severe weather, that one we've been watching so closely since Murfreesboro, is now about to move out of our area of responsibility. So we have some, a lot of rain. And that's the big concern is making sure that you don't drown. Tornadoes, they can be very damaging. Hail can be very damaging, but it is most often water that kills people. Yeah. So we gotta keep an eye on that.
Yes, sir.
Dan Mandis.
So we have a lot of rain and thunder now here in Mount Juliet. Rain is coming down hard, and we do, again, have a lot of water in my general vicinity as well. Brian just said it. We can't say it enough. You've got to be careful. By the way, just so you guys know, I am trying to call a couple of businesses in Sparta to see if they'll call in. So that's what I'm working on right now.
Very good. And this just goes to show you, the super text line goes to show you that sometimes it's all in the eye of the beholder, because I got back-to-back super texts regarding that I-24 situation that we were talking about at mile marker 85, 86, 87, where 5900 writes in and says, I drove right past it after it happened. There was debris from trees, but I don't think a tornado went through there. And then I had another super texter that wrote in and said, definitely a tornado went through there because trees had been snapped off. So, so obviously, depending on what you see and how you perceive things, perception can be reality. But there clearly was something very significant and serious that went across I-24.
A wind issue of some sort. That's the best way to describe it.
No question. Joan, are you down there? You still battening down the hatches in Murfreesboro? What does it look like down there?
It doesn't look too bad, actually. It's still some rain, but no wind to speak of, really. And it's probably the tail end of this storm. But one thing that I had my eye on was the flash flood warnings. There's a new one that popped up, and this is for Giles County. I think that's how you pronounce it. Lawrence County, southwestern Marshall County. the point is that there more of the areas on this map are filling up with these flash flood warnings. So we really need to keep an eye on how much of this water starts to run off now and starts to fill up those areas that typically get run over with extra rain waters and puddles on the roadways. It's going to be an issue, I think, for the next couple of hours until this all settles down.
And Chris Hand has been taking care of social media platforms and taking care of all of that aspect, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and all of the things that we're doing in that arena. Chris, what do you got down there in Murfreesboro, and are you hearing anything on the socials?
Well, my first observation here in Murfreesboro, and my wife just walked by and said this as well, is haven't heard thunder in a while. Now, I don't know about you guys, but just this calm in the storm almost makes me a little bit more nervous. You know, they told us that the peak threat was going to be 6 to 11, so I'm kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop. But as of right now, it's very smooth, and I haven't been able to find any pictures on social media of storm damage in Murfreesboro. But if you guys want to crowdsource that, you can always text it into the Super Text line or send it to us directly on Twitter at 997 WTN, and we'll be happy to share that and get that message out.
And Ken, circling back to you, and I think you tell me, Ken, because you're running the show, but we think till 5 o'clock. We'll stay with it till 5 o'clock today.
I think we stay with it until 5 o'clock. The danger has moved over 120 miles east of Nashville now, and almost that far from Murfreesboro, where this all started, and where this rotation is indeed still together. So folks out in Cookeville, places like that, beyond, it's going to be their problem. I want to touch a little bit on this I-24 situation. This is causing quite a backup. I'm looking at it's got to be at least a 2-mile backup now due to the debris over the right lane and right shoulder of 24 there at mile marker 89. Whether it was a tornado or not, that is not making drivers happy right now. So, and in addition, like we have mentioned, even though the dangerous part of this storm is well east of Nashville now, we are still under flash flood warnings here in Middle Tennessee, and it's pretty much all of Middle Tennessee. This flash flood warning, it is going to run for about another 45 minutes before we might get some relief from that. So those creeks and rivers in this area, that means they are continuing to rise and will do so before there's any type of receding. That's not expected to start until 5:45. And we've still got rain falling, guys. There's still some pockets of very heavy rain behind this tornadic storm that is now about 120 miles east of Nashville. And then we still have the really angry looking radar right there on the Alabama-Mississippi line there around Meridian and Demopolis. Man, it looks really nasty down there. At one point today, Mississippi had 7 tornado warnings at the same time.
I was going to say, I called a couple of businesses in Sparta, one of them the Budget Inn. They said that there's a lot of wind. There was some rotation. But as far as they can see there at the Budget Inn in Sparta, there's no major damage. Also on the Supertext line, 0339. Hey, guys, in Sparta right now, just one big storm. Looks like the rotation missed this particular person. He was just south of Highway 70 and Old Kentucky Road. So it looks like they had a lot of wind, but the couple of businesses that I spoke to, nobody has any damage or anything from their vantage point in Sparta.
Well, and all of us talking here now, we've been through these storm systems in the past, and I'm curious if any of y'all have any thoughts, because I think, while we might leave at 5 o'clock, we may be back depending on how much this, because that system down in Mississippi and Birmingham, Mississippi and Alabama is significant, and it's all about how far it can push east before it gets north to us, right?
Yeah, Matt, I'm in complete agreement with you on that. I mean, we've still got a lot of moisture that is it's like a train that's coming through our area. Now it is moving to the east slowly, but we still have a lot of moisture behind that leading edge where the real serious sort of tornadic activity can occur. Back behind it is still a ton of water.
Yeah,
still a lot of water to be coming our way. I would say at least the next 8 to 10 hours.
Hey, Ken, so we're looking this thing to be with us at least till 10 o'clock tonight. After all this moves out, this massive amount of precipitation that's going to be dumped on us. Is that correct?
Right. Yeah, it's going to rain until at least 10 o'clock tonight.
Yep.
And you guys, speaking of this flooding, I'm looking at an image, and Chris, you're probably aware of this, but I'm looking at an image of Mill Creek in Nolensville. I mean, it is raging. I mean, there is water just raging down Mill Creek right now. So, folks, all across Middle Tennessee, take this flash flood warning very serious.
Yeah, if you know any creeks or if you know any bodies of water that normally flood, they're going to flood.
Yeah.
And so just be alert on that.
And so are streets. And so are,
Right.
Matt and I were talking about it. Don't be stupid. It's simple because what happens is you get caught in something, you think you get through something, then somebody else risks their lives. Next thing you know, first responders have to come and save everybody. And Brian pointed out, more people drowned and get caught up in something like this. And it's important just to be smart, stay off the roads. And if you're on the roads, get yourself somewhere as high as you possibly can to avoid this stuff.
Ken, only about a minute and a half before I think we wind down this portion of our special broadcast of the severe weather. But what are your final thoughts, sir?
Well, my final thoughts are what we just said. We're not out of the woods yet. Yeah, we may not have rotation prompting a tornado warning anywhere in Middle Tennessee, but we still have the flash flooding, and these creeks are raging right now, and there's a lot of debris in them too. That's what you've got to be aware of.
Absolutely.
We are still going to be on alert. We're still going to be watching this situation in Mississippi and Alabama, because the National Weather Service has not yet lifted the tornado watch that runs until 9 o'clock tonight for Coffee, Cannon. This is for Rutherford and Wilson counties until 9 o'clock tonight. So some of us are still in a little bit of risk for some of these storms. If they were to pop up and run severe, at least in the watch area, there is the potential for this rotation, so we could be right back.
Oh, that's right. And obviously, if there's a tornado warning anywhere in our area, anywhere in Middle Tennessee, we're going to be on top of that, and we're going to let you do your thing. Just batten down the hatches, understand a lot of rain, a lot of wind, a lot of mess going on our Saturday night in Middle Tennessee, but we'll be here for you. For Joan Jones, for Chris Hand, for Chad Benson, for Mason Fleming, for Brian Wilson, for Dan Mandis, and for Ken Weaver, my name is Matt Murphy, and we'll turn it back to regular programming. We'll be here if you need us on Supertalk 99.7 WTN.
This has been a breaking weather update on Supertalk 99.7 WTN. We'll return to our regularly scheduled programming next.
All right, Brother Dan Mandis.